Hey, good evening to you. And before we start the show off, we're going to do something a little differently. We normally don't get into anything political on the show, so that's not the point of this. But we would be remiss not to mention that today was 9/11, and for all the servicemen and women, for all the firefighters and police officers, and everyone that lost their life in that tragedy, our thoughts and our prayers go out to you. And before we get into anything tonight, we're going to do a moment of silence, and then we're going to kick our intro in, and then we'll go back to normal tournament. But we didn't want to start the show without acknowledging that great loss today.
Mr. Alexander Storm. I don't know if you saw. Did you see my twin was in here a minute ago?
I saw that.
Hey, so man, look at this is what I'm excited about.
Oh, absolutely.
Just pure sex appeal on screen whenever we're here, and it's hard to deny, and that's why people get upset, and then they got to try to schedule their shit when we go. But sir, it is as always a pleasure to be hosting this show with you. How the hell have you been?
Oh man, I am doing great, man. It's been a fantastic week. It started off with some drops. First of all, we start off with the Rattler, then Dragonman, then some reveals. So it is. Look, let's just undeniably say this is Hasbro's week. Like it's not just their Friday post-con; it is their week, man. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope everyone else is and everything. And as usual, the most
Meeks
loyal
here.
man on the site, brother.
Yeah, Meeks, welcome in, Darth Moocher. Good evening to you,
What's
fella.
up, Darth Moocher?
So yeah, normally if you jump in, we start with the teasers, but we're not gonna do teasers today.
Not tonight.
We there's other important things we need to take care of in the beginning. So we appreciate everyone for being here. We do have a jam-packed show and a lot of discussion that's gonna get the brain kind of it's kind of moving around in some directions.
Hasbro is blowing people's minds.
They're blowing people's minds, and I'll tell you what, it's not necessarily all good. So
yeah, exactly.
And we'll get into that because there's a passionate topic that we're probably going to get into, and I've been holding myself back. Okay, and if Scott Solo was here, I'm sure him and I would have a nice little conversation about whether or not this is a good thing.
Absolutely.
But hey, let's start off with the elephant in the room, which is the Rattler campaign. That's about as big as it gets. How do we feel it went?
You know what? I had a feeling that there was going to be some last minute dumps. I did not expect it to be in the way and the shape that this has popped up. We'll have this rolling on the screen. 28,000. Now, when last week we were on the show, we were worried about them hitting the 18. And I said, it's going to hit the 18. It'll hit the final mark. I thought this campaign would have ended at about 20K.
I didn't see 28.
Yeah, I did not see 28 either. Wow, man.
Had I known it would have been 28, I would have bought a second one.
Actually, you know what? I'm actually glad that, because I know we were talking about maybe just purchasing a second set. Glad that we didn't, only on the aspect that it's 28. Now, again, some of the other campaigns, I think the Barge was like, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere under the 10,000 mark, even lower than that. But that makes it extremely rare. In fact, I saw on Evil Bay, as they call it, it was going for about $2,800. You can fetch that range when you've done a small run of something. But the problem with the Dragonfly and the Rattlers and the Hiss tanks, like they're a large amount. So when and I've seen people that are you're not getting it. Look, first of all, if you didn't purchase it on the date it ended on Monday, you're probably never going to get it for that price. You're
Ever.
always going to pay a little something extra for it.
Yep.
Now we've noticed with the Hiss tank, there's been some people that've gotten those pretty reasonable, like $75, maybe $55
Yeah, but
more than retail.
at that point, you're just paying for the convenience that they had it.
Exactly, but
They're not like you could easily fetch
mhm.
750 for the
Oh
his
yeah,
tank easy. But like I told you the other day, I saw it. A friend of mine was selling one for 550.
yeah, and so but I've seen them get at those numbers. Now Unicron's different.
That one,
Unicron's hitting your
I,
pocket a little bit different.
I know that's taking money out of my pocket, homie. Like I'm highly aware. I found one super cheap, and I'm like a bad click away from buying it.
I was talking the same thing. I think Darth Moocher, we were having a conversation about that, and he was like, "Wow, Unicron and shit." And I was like, "Yeah, you find the Unicron, and you find it for like anywhere near retail price, you're blessed because that's not going to be a given. That's not going to happen too often." But there are a couple. So I think people that bought multiple ones, if you bought the limit of five, I think it was five for you.
5, yeah,
You're going to make some money, but you're not going to make a bunch of money. What's going to end up happening is that you're going to be in every possible way, probably doing 100 or so. If you're lucky, maybe 150 more. But I don't think you're going to get the. And yes, Darth just said he just missed the Unicron big time. Yes, everybody else did. Everybody slept on that one.
yeah,
Um, I don't think you're going to get to like Jabba's barge because there's so many out there.
yeah.
That's the problem. So, when I thought 20, I was like, all right, if we was getting close to 20, but it exceeded 20, and that's when I was like, it doesn't even make sense for us to get in on this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right because we talked about if it stayed
We
in
talked
like
about
the 18 to like 21,000, 21,
exactly.
we were gonna get a second one, but
Yeah, but it just this one doesn't make sense. But again, we were talking about like it. I think the overall audience let their dollars speak and gave Hasbro a little bit of a worry about those. I'm sure if they do another HasLab, which we've all heard rumblings that the HasLabs might not be the exact same way anymore. It may be more to direct to order, which is probably a better suit. And I think that it also will leave you levels of something being extremely limited if someone misses out on it. So
yeah,
but 28, hey, that's a lot of money. It says ship in fall 2025. We all know that's a lie
that
because
is absolute lie.
they have never shipped on time any of the HasLab. So expect either winter or early 2026.
Yep.
But I don't think they're going to get this. Well, Dragonfly was supposed to be the summer, and now they're saying December, and we're hoping it's December. So
Look, I was excited when they announced it,
yeah.
and I am excited that I got it because,
Mhm.
like you said, this is one that I thought about real quick where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it, and then I was like, I'll never get it for this
So
price
it
ever.
better not
And
be.
so I was excited that I purchased it, and I think you and I were like, we purchased ours when it was in like the hundreds.
Yeah, oh no, it was just like it was announced. I think you're right. I think it was like in like 190 to like 180. I
Yeah,
don't think in any way, shape, or form were we like thinking about like we were gonna like miss it. We were like within it coming up. We were like, boom, we're gonna do this.
yeah, I was in a movie and got out and purchased it, and I think I purchased it around like 250. Like
Yeah,
there's only 250 backers at the time.
and I
So
know that also too. This is the first HasLab from G.I. Classified that Red hopped in on too, from what I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, he got it. He got
You
it.
know.
Speaking of HasLabs and HasLabs kind of potentially going away, I think.
Mhm.
Um, What else did Hasbro decide to put up on their website?
Well, they did Dragon Man, so we'll go through the assets and everything else like that. Let's just get to the Dragon Man stuff. They threw up Dragon Man early in the week. Now that I specifically would have thought they would have saved for the Hasbro Pulsecon. I was shocked that that just popped up out of nowhere
Yeah.
early in this week too, and I'm like, oh,
Well,
they're
I
taking
remember
it to the
calling
next
you when
level.
this hit, and I was like, dude,
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be. And I know we have a lot to talk about PulseCon, but I
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to
yeah,
talk about Dragon Man first because Dragon Man, we saw, there was a few YouTubers that were able to get a hold
yeah.
of them to show them like the prototypes, um, and then I have this guy.
You got the one Dragon Man to rule them all.
I have the one Dragon Man to rule them all.
Uh-huh.
What you'll notice about just on the front facing right here on this one, which I'm
Yeah,
excited about, the articulation is way better than this
yeah. Oh
one.
yeah.
Like this articulation, like you can't. This guy won't stand on his own.
Mhm.
But I'm a massive fan of Dragon Man. It took me a long time to find one of the original ones that wasn't in package, that wasn't demolished and destroyed.
Mhm.
I I'm excited about this. It's 10 inches. The one I have is not 10 inches. Um, and the articulation, the two different wings. This was great, man. This was awesome. I thought it was going to be PulseCon. I called you. I was like, bro, I thought this was going to
I
launch.
thought it was going to be PulseCon too. I
Um,
was kind of shocked, but if you look, like the articulation is what. First of all, one let's give them the credit because Dragon Man's pretty big. He's not like the standard size of the Builder figure. He's a lot bigger than that. But at 84.99, I thought okay because with Temptation of like Hasbro, you thought maybe 120 at they might have tried to hit at that price point.
I thought it was 120.
I was shocked at 84, and also this is how I think that they're really thinking about the changing because look,
I know what you're gonna say, and I agree
yeah,
100%.
they are waiting until this thing ships to charge you.
Awesome.
So it's not coming out right now. You don't have to have a whole year waiting or a year and a half, depending on how long their delays are. They're gonna wait until like that thing's shipping, and then they're gonna take the money out of your account. Now that is a better philosophy because I think they saw over the summer. First of all, some of the other HasLabs didn't do too well for them. So now they're moving to this model because the Marvel team has had a couple of misses.
Yeah.
But the one aspect that I think works a little bit better for this is that look, if you don't want Dragon Man, there's no killer object to go out and get him. He's $84. He's not 120. He's a lot larger, better articulated, but there's some people that are just not into the Fantastic Four. They're not going to want to purchase Dragon Man, and they'll miss out. So it's going to be made to order. They're not going to lose their butts on this because if somebody doesn't want it, it doesn't want it. Now, I will tell you because we're working on another segment right here. It's called the toy stock market, and if we could just flow this in, you don't buy Dragon Man. They're made to order, and this thing doesn't hit the high numbers, this thing will be like the barge. It's going to jump up in price, and you're going to wish that you purchased it at that time because made to order is completely different than we're going to make 19,000 of these. You know, if let's say 2,000 people are the only people interested in this, that's going to make this thing increasingly valuable. So, you
Yep.
know, I would sometime in like mid 2026, we're going to need to think about that for the stock to see if that stock is going up. But I would say this is probably a purchase just because of the articulation. You look at has two sets of wings, two sets of arms. He's extremely huge. He's bulky. He has all kind of
Yeah.
points to
That's
standard articulation of any regular
awesome.
Marvel legend.
Awesome.
It's a winner. I'm not a huge Fantastic Four fan enough to know Dragon Man and the whole mythology with it, but it's a pretty impressive figure, man. And I think that
Well,
if you bought the actual build a figure, I still
mhm.
think this complements it extremely well.
Yeah.
So you got your Grail, and probably soon to be a new Grail because if you don't, if a lot of people like Dragon Man, I know some people that didn't know who Dragon Man was. So sleep on Dragonman. He'll be flying his way out of your pocketbooks later down the line. So from there, other than we thought that was going to hit, which it didn't. We'll go all the way back and everything. Let's hit it up with the Pulsecon.
One thing I will say real quick though.
Go ahead.
Did you think that I wasn't going to buy it?
Oh no, I knew you were buying it. I knew you were buying it. I knew once we saw that, I was like, nah, this is a guarantee. Look, again, if I'd much rather had Fing Fang Foom. I was waiting for it.
Oh, absolutely, 100% would have rather had that. But I'm not gonna lie. Just really quick, and I realized the whole made to order thing I think is fantastic.
I think it's smart.
I think it's a smart move, especially for bigger figures. This is a 10-inch figure. But I still think if they released Fin Fang Foom, it's got to be a HasLab, because otherwise,
I know it's not going to be $120. Fin Fang Foom is way too big for that. You're in the aspect of like Giant Man, Galactus level.
You would be at minimum taller than Giant Man and a little shorter than Galactus if they were going to keep to scale.
And they have to give a couple of heads, a couple of other figures with it.
I mean, Dragonman's an android. Like, he was created by Gilbert, I think, so if you look at, there's a photo with him and Richards.
Yeah, I saw that.
You don't get the Richards figure, but for comparison, it's like, that's about right. They're standard figure 6 inches. He's 10 inches. Fin Fang Foom. No, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he's not Galactus size, but like, it's Fin Fang Foom.
And again, you've got to have his purple pants, so there has to be some kind of attachment to put them on and put them off. So there's a difference. It's going to cost, but that's a HasLab, man.
Yeah, but getting into Pulsecon, thought that was going to be a reveal of Pulsecon. It was not, but I got to be honest with you. The only thing disappointing in Pulsecon so far, from what I've read, is the host.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I was extremely disappointed that they brought back Jordan Hembro from the I think it's the Toy Hunter. I think it was A&E, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't think he did a great job for San Diego Comic-Con, and there's a couple of times where it just seemed like he was just out of it. Sometimes he can kind of be like a used car salesman, and it just doesn't come off as authentic. And I thought that when I heard Dan Larson, because again, they were promoting, they're like, Jordan Hembro. They weren't saying anything about Dan Larson. And then I saw on a Instagram that Dan Larson was like, I'll also be one of the people. And I'm like, well, they're just kind of throwing him under the bus. Dan Larson's fantastic. I love his Secret Galaxy stuff. He knows how he has to post a fandom. He's entertaining. He's very funny. I think that if anything, he's the guy. Again, Jordan just seems like more like a car salesman. And hey, that works on certain aspects, but the Toy Hunter show, I didn't always agree. Same thing with, there's a couple other shows that we won't mention that I've seen where it seems like sometimes they're just basically like ripping off fandom for a fast buck, and it comes across that sometimes. And I know, his show rubbed a couple of people the wrong way, some misquotes and some things on Mask and everything. But I did not enjoy him during San Diego Comic-Con. He seemed ill-informed on a lot of stuff that was going on. And I think Dan Larson's a much better host. And fortunately, I don't even know if he considered him a host, because it seems like he's being secondary. So he probably has like a segment or something that he's probably doing. He brought him in for. But they should look at, if you're going to do something permanent, you want to get the eyes of the Pulse and YouTube and everything else. You might want to make him a little bit more, a permanent host of Dan Larson. And Dark Moocher agrees with us. He seems like a car salesman, and he's right. He has a very it's like he's pushing product and everything. That's not what we want. They also have, I can't remember the name at the top of the moment, it gets me, but the Armorer from The Mandalorian is supposed to do a segment. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be something Star Wars related for Star Wars Black, but we'll leave that to our buddies over the Sword Like Digest podcast. We won't get into Star Wars stuff here. But that's actually kind of cool. They dropped some kind of things and some reveals that I was a little bit. I thought, well, why don't you just wait to the end of the week? You gave us the Rattler and Dragonman. Oh, Emily Swallow. That's it. There you go. There you go. Thank you, Dark Moocher. That's what I said. You leave it to the Starlight Brothers. So, but I thought they were gonna leave some things, but they popped up some aspects and some items. So
Yeah.
here it is. Not Jonathan Majors Kang that you can get from Walmart for 4.96, and I'm not joking. You could get them for 4.96.
Literally 496 at Walmart. I saw it the other day.
Yeah, but this is the OG Kang, and look, uh, you know, eh, I don't know if it's because of everything that happened with the whole quantum medium kind of thing, but I don't know if King is ever going to get its glory again. Not like Thanos. So, I love the artwork on the box. I think they used a great
Oh yeah,
comic
great.
version of it. I like his chair and anything, but somehow he doesn't seem as menacing as he did before he was brought to the big screen.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, right?
Yeah,
Like King was menacing, like in the comics, like in
yeah,
general, and then on the big screen it was like, wait, this is like a half-ass storytelling of King.
yeah,
And so this is a figure that I'm on edge on whether or not I'm going to pick this up. I always love when you have figures like this, like you have Professor X with the wheelchair. You get a bunch
yeah.
of extra stuff. You get like any kind of like mini vehicle or something you could pose them in is a plus.
Hmm.
But also, yeah, I'm not pumped and excited to get it, but I think it's one of those figures where I know they're not going to make a lot of because they're not going to sell, and if I don't get it now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be overpaying for it.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time when the show starts. Is probably when I'll make my decision if I purchase it. So it's gonna
Yeah.
go all the way until because right now it's like I don't know. I think look, he's a great looking figure. I do love his I guess his chair, the throne that he's on, but I don't know, man. This is a last minute kind of scenario, so I'm good with that though. But one that I do know that will be like the minute that it comes, I think 4 p.m. Is when we're supposed to be able to order for Hasbro Pulse premium members, which you and I both are. Obviously, no one need to
Of
know
course.
that. Starduster I will
Purchased.
be buying immediately because Starduster was the one elusive character from the, I wouldn't say the original line because he was a couple of years later, but he was only given with the GI Joe cereal, and my household, if it wasn't like regular total or something without sugar on it, you didn't have it. So I never had the opportunity to get Starduster, and I like the version of him. I think it looks great. Again, my only gripe was a couple of years ago at the SoCal Joe show. They had done a custom Starduster, and they had done him in a cereal box as his main cover. And I thought, now he comes with a mini little cereal box, but I'm like, I think they wasted the opportunity to build a little bit of extra like nostalgia for it to actually have the cereal box on it. Kind of like the same way they did for Once a Man Cobra Commander. They really put the work into that, the whole box and the look and everything. This one, they kind of just threw him out box wise, but I think he comes with all the belt. Comes with flight packs. He comes with a couple of weapons. The steel core helmet. You know, all the bells and whistles are on it for him. But again, I would have liked to see him actually come in an actual cereal box sleeve or something. I think that would have worked for that character.
Yeah,
So
he's
it's
rad.
this pre-order pass for you, Mister Maddox.
I'm gonna pre-order because that dude's gonna also probably fly the Rattler every now and then. But
So,
I love this character. Like
yeah,
I learned about him from you, and
yeah.
then I went and started looking up like the original like 3 1/4 one, and or the O-ring ones,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, he's cool. Like he's a fun toy. Like I wish I would have had this when I was a kid. Like it's just cool. Like I'm, but again, I'm into the ones that come with like extra crap.
Exactly.
He's got the jetpack, he's got the like effects, the guns, the helmets, like it's just okay, cool. I do think though that they could have done something cooler with the box, a lot like they did with like Chuckles.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
I mean, Chuckles was like windowless, but I mean the box. I still have the box. Like it's a cool
Box
box.
is great. Yeah.
I think it would have paid homage
Mm-hmm.
to the original one. But hey, it doesn't bother me. This is a definite purchase for me, and I am slowly jumping into classifieds.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so yeah, I'm excited about this one.
It's a great line, great character. So that's that's going to be pull trigger. I already know now. From there, this one our buddies over at Sorlac. I know Dark Moocher's money's already spent on this, but
It's a
the
cool figure.
it is and everything. So and again, from the offering from Dark Maul for the San Diego Comic Con to this, I think it's a it's a cool. Now let's not be mistaken. These are not the only reveals that are going to be popping. These are just the early ones they put up. There will be more GI Joe classifieds that are going to show. There's going to be way more Marvel Legends, and I know there's going to be Star Wars Black and Vintage, probably
Mhm.
some stuff dropping because you got the Skeleton Crew and a bunch of other things. So these are just the ones that at this moment they just dropped right now and everything. And again, like I said, yep, Dark Moocher, yep, at least two so far. So um, look, I think the packaging is nice. I like the big wide open window. The characters actually the battle android is basically riding. It looks cool. I remember this from the Clone Wars. It's a very good look. Trooper. It's one that I think a lot of people are going to purchase that are into the Star Wars lore. So I think they did a good job here too as well, man. They've hit it out. But again, there's going to be more figures than just these that we're showing. Then now this was the one that I wasn't on the fence with because of you due to your whole uh, Dinobot session. When I
Yeah,
saw this and it's the legacy version of the Dino King, I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a pull the trigger on. And that's like,
yeah.
it looks cool, man. It looks cool.
I had this conversation with Rad, and I've had it with a few other friends of mine. I am a giant. Like I have zero problems buying bigger figures. The bigger the figure is, the more likely you're going to get me to buy it. That's why I had to have Galactus. I'm still working on getting a Sentinel. I don't have that yet. But dude, I missed my opportunity to get a G1 Devastator, like
Mhm.
original old school Devastator. I'm not missing out on this. I love this figure. I don't care if it feels cheesy. I don't care if it looks cheesy. I don't give a shit what the box looks like. This is something that I'm going to pre-order. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to take it out of the box, and I'm going to put it together probably in this exact pose. And I'm going to be excited about it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I give them credit. The legacies has been slowly creeping up there. I think also the Studio 86
Well,
figures have been really nice as well.
the
You
problem
know.
so the problem I have with legacies is that they need to update the package to make it more desirable to collect.
Mhm.
I don't like the Transformer line. Someone needs to come in and cut all the shit out and just start with the line, because
Mhm.
it's like you it was very you were very aware of what you were buying when Transformers originally came out in the 80s.
Mhm.
Like you knew what you were trying to find, and the packaging all looked the same. Um, and I'm Darth Moocher just distracted the shit out.
I
If
just saw that too.
if that
I'm
is
like,
true, I'm losing my mind.
yeah,
Um,
there'll be a whole bunch of money spent on Pulsecon.
it's gonna suck. Uh,
They get you, man. Like I said again, let's recap. This summer was the summer of like money leaving everyone's account because no matter what kind of fan you were crossing over. There was Marvel Legends, there was classified, there was all kind of stuff coming out. Everything from Ramen Racers to Valaverse.
NECA.
Everybody was taking their backs and forths on it, and I thought that once we got past the Rattler HasLab campaign and a little bit of the Bread cars or the Rev One cars that Robin Racer had been putting on. I thought, okay, we're gonna have a little something. Now it just goes to show when he says, I think Devastator's coming. I was like, ah, no, man, because like again, I was like, so it's gonna be Dino King. Now look, I don't know how much this character is gonna cost. I'm imagining it's gonna be somewhere in the let's say over what 70.
Well,
Let's go like that.
there's six of them there, and the average price is $24 per figure.
All right, so we're looking at over 100. So
Yeah, I think it's.
Devastator,
I think it'd be 119.
Devastator is probably going to be about that same price as well.
So
So if
stupid.
that's coming through, like wow, man. Like, I
Well,
thought we were past this point in the year.
yeah. Well, we talked about that. We also talked about like cutting back, but then also look what I end up buying.
Yeah, see, I knew that too, man. I knew that was coming.
Like that that pissed me off. I went in Target and I was like, "There's no reason for you to have that here." Now I have
Yeah,
to go.
yeah.
So
Well, like I said again, I think you're right with the packaging because it's between like it's very limited between Studio 86 and the Legacy. One's like blue, one's red, and it's kind of like if you're not paying attention, other than the pricing, because the some in the studio that didn't show up at Ollie's, uh, they are kind of a little bit pricier compared to Legacy. And I also think that Studio 86 seems to be put together a little bit better. Like the Legacy is extremely plastic, and there it seems like there's a little bit more durability with the Studio 86. But I'm still a fan of certain figures that the Legacy have. I'm a fan of some of the 80s, the Studio 86 stuff that they put out. So, bravo to them for coming out with this. I heard that was coming for a time back. I think they mentioned it earlier in the year that they were going to do this character, and I'm glad they did because it's just like there's certain ones that you want to actually get, and this is a character that you didn't see too often. So I'm glad they're actually bringing it out. And
Well, I
yeah,
got Studio 86 Starscream at Ollie's for
I remember.
$10.
I remember I told you when you did that. I said, "Man, I said, I was like, you better start looking because I heard that Coronation Starstream is popping up at Tully's." And you were like, "Nope, I saw him." I was like, "Wow, man, there's a lot of people paid a heck of a lot more money than that." And the movie,
$10.
yeah, or it was, yeah, Darth Moocher knows. Um, So there's some pluses and minuses, but again, there's going to be some other drops that's going to come out. So there's going to be more Transformers, more GI Joe. I saw that they also had. I'm sure I heard there was going to be some kind of drops of some Magic the Gathering, and I'm sure they'll have some other stuff for Marvel Snap and a bunch of. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff dropped, man.
Yeah, my one of my favorite. I think I know but I
Yeah.
collect Magic the Gathering cards.
Hmm.
One of my favorite cards was from the first HasCon, and it was Grimlock, the Dinobot leader. I got that card. I couldn't make it to HasCon, and then I found a kid that used to come to the comic shop that I would run Magic tournaments at, and he
Hmm.
had it, and he wanted to do a trade, so I did the trade with him for like 4 cards, and then I also paid him $40. That card now sits around like the $300 mark,
There you go. Sound like
and
it's pretty good value.
it's like my favorite card. I have it in the back with all my Grimlock stuff that I have.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said again, man. Look, the Dinobots was always one of my favorite teams.
Yep.
Along with Devastator, I wasn't too big into the Aerobots and everything. It seemed they complained too much for me, but
Yeah.
I I love the Dinobots as a team, and just to have like them transform into a bigger bot is actually pretty cool. So I'll definitely be looking for that. So with that said and everything, so that there's a lot of passes on, but a whole lot of like pre-orders. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff, and if there's things dropping, we'll put that up in our Instagram or up on X and everything, and that's on the top of the screen right there for Shadow Nose Network over Instagram or over on X Shadow Nose. And actually, right now we're streaming on Instagram.
Yes, sir. And if you're just now joining, we welcome you to the best cast for toys ever to exist in the history of YouTube. It's not our fault that you haven't seen it. We have about 300,000 people watching right now. So we appreciate it, but we ask all of you guys to subscribe, because if you don't, it's your fault and you suck. And we appreciate you anyways. So make sure you do that. Let's go to the next one, but I do have something that I want to talk about. And I sent you the message, and I was like, dude, we gotta talk about this. But we'll get into that.
Well, no, we can take our time out and everything like that. So let me pull this screen. Let's talk about it now, man, because we might as well. So
Okay.
let's go right ahead.
And Mr. Moocher, please listen up, because you and I have a lot we got to talk about 3D printing. But I follow this guy, Lightspeeder Luke. Now, there's this. He was one of the original ones to come out with these figure stands that are hexagons, and they're great. They're modular, whatever. Okay. It was 2 days ago, I think. I sent you the message.
I saw it. Yeah.
And I said, bro, this would piss me off if I bought the HasLab. And what I'm talking about is that Lightspeeder Luke, if you go to his website, or you find him on Etsy, or you're on his Patreon, he has released the 3D print files for 1/12 scale, so 6-inch figures, for the Cantina. And I am going to tell you something. Yeah. I went and looked at it and looked at what he did. All of the Cantina tables have a hole for a little LED that you can order on Amazon, and he tells you where to get it, and you get them, and they plug in, and then they light up as like little candles. He also gives you all the 3D print files for the little cups that look like they have water in them. Landspeeder, Luke, sorry, not Lightspeeder, Landspeeder. Yeah. And the way that you put, this is, and we freaking talked about this in the Cantina during, and I feel bad. I should jump on the Sarlacc Digest and talk about this, but dude, we talked about this, and I said it's not modular enough. Like, it just, you couldn't do. This dude created like a modular system that you connect them together. You could pick it up and move it around. It doesn't fall apart. It's 6-inch scale. And then if you want more rooms, you can just add them on. And each room has the bench that is like at the table where Guido shot first. And dude, he thought of everything, like everything. There's the hookah pipe. Even he's like, and you could buy these hoses. I bought these hoses from Amazon so that you could have the figures like holding them, and it looks like the. And I'm just like, dude. And he was talking about, if you have a bamboo printer, it's great because the AMS does the color printing perfect. And I'm just like, this guy. And it made me feel really upset about my 1/12 scale shipping container that I have in my house that I printed.
Yeah, well, this is where, let's see, where Hasbro won't third party well. And you know what? Now, this is one thing, and I will give a second to be, first of all, some of the best toy figure stands on the face of the planet done by the Tashi Station Emporium, and so I give them credit. Number two is, we won't mention it yet, but we're working a little something for that as well. But so first of all, Landspeeder's got a problem going because he's got some stiff competition here. But I give him credit to fix something. That's the one thing I love about the secondary market or third parties, is that while, like, same aspect of like Ramen toys, like, you were going to give us a crap version of the Engine of Vengeance. He gave us a superior version of the Ramen Racer. Everybody wanted to say, well, why is there not a 6-inch Cantina that you're coming out with? Don't you worry, Landspeeder is getting you one that you can put your Star Wars, because there's a lot of those characters are already available. So you definitely want to see that go. And then to just put in the holes for the actually LED lights and everything. Well, now he's just rubbing it in Hasbro's face. That's all it
Yeah,
is. It's like
this
you had a year to build this one, and you said we had to take out the lights. It was too much stuff. This guy's like, no, 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 no. I probably only had 6 months to build this, and he's doing. There's also another guy I saw that just completed. He says he's going to show it on a Facebook group that I'm on, GI Joe one, where it was the 6-inch version of the USS Flag.
so stupid.
And he shows like the like the 99 numbering on the top of the flight deck, and this thing's massive. And I was like, my God, I can't believe that.
Well,
he
we talked
printed
about
it
that, right? Like, if you think about it, that was at scale for O-ring, and so if you just doubled that, that is 14 feet.
Yeah, 14, maybe 16. Added extra, little extra bells and whistles to it. Just like the $6 million man, they could rebuild them. They could rebuild them. So I like when we have these options out there, because there's so many times where I've seen certain aspects of like either like a 6-inch version of a Weather Dominator. There's a guy that's like building that that's on SD. So there's a lot of people out there that's putting some really crafty stuff together that, as fans, you want, and something that maybe some of the bigger corporations overlook. Look, I think NECA is charging way too much for their sewer system, and
Absolutely.
Ace from Ramen Toys made a superior version of one. So
It's so
like I said, these third-party guys are doing good work, and guess what? If you get in where you can fit in, I don't have a problem with it. But then again, I'm not the license holder, so I wouldn't have a problem with it in the first place. But yeah, I know when we were talking about that, I said that's going to be controversial, because I was like, oh, this is going to get you into a little bit the Star Wars hot water. But again, hey, more power to him. I'm glad that first of all, I don't know where you're going to put that at, because the Venice collection one is pretty large. So again, but I'm sure
I mean, I don't know where you put it, but like Scott Solo just keeps his flag in the middle of his room. So
I saw that. Jesus, man,
I guess what you do is you just build a second level in your 1-story house and just put it up.
Or
there.
you buy a bigger house, man. That's the
yeah.
thing. Once you start running
when it comes down to it, like, don't be a bitch. Just buy a bigger house.
Like, hey, spend that 100,000 on something else. Some square footage.
Come on, bro. You know what?
Or if you're in California, spend that 700 grand on something else.
Yeah.
So while we've got the HasLab is done, we've already given all the people out there the information for a 6-inch cantina. We've gone through our Dragonman. Now here's the thing, that this is going to be the part where they say save the best for last, but we're not. This is not the best. This is not the situation. Look, earlier this week, Hasbro went into an agreement with the Lowell Subjects. I had to look them up. I didn't even know who these guys were, but apparently they've been making some toys for a little bit of time.
You wouldn't know it.
They've been gifted. I use the term gifted, the mass license, and I know that our friend of the channel, Ace from Ramen's Toys, was also looking forward to trying to get this license. Now, they put a nice statement out saying, hey, they're going to make it the same size as the 80s version. They're just going to, I think what it seems like they're just going to do is just redo what's been done. So I don't think you'll see any other modifications or any other things with it. And then I also saw that they got My Pet Monster. They also had the license to Jim and the holograms. They did show an actual photo of the Jim and the holograms doll. I didn't put it up here because, to be quite honest with you, I was not impressed with it.
It's horrible.
I thought like, I would have thought they would have went in the same way. The line would have been more like Barbie or something like that. That's a huge franchise. A lot of people still like Jim in the toy community as well. So I thought they were going to do a little something different. This one kind of reminded me of similar to like a version of the Bratz or something, but not as deformed. But didn't seem like it was elegant like Barbie, So, I'm sure somewhere that I don't know if Ace would be disappointed. I think fans of Ace's work is disappointed, but he'll just come on with something bigger and better, and it just wasn't for them. One thing I don't know this personally. I saw it all over the forums. I saw it all over Instagram and everything else. People said that these guys, Loyal Subjects quality is not really that good. So they said there's a lot of QC issues with a lot of their stuff. I don't know that. I just something I read on a couple of forums and I read on, a bunch of people's Instagram. So, we'll see. Maybe they're going to step their game up. But yeah, that's a shame. I was looking forward to a Rhino that would have been done by Ace. And, yeah, look, we're going to get another Rhino again. I'll be curious to see if this is going to be as good as the stuff from the 80s. But at this point, I will tell Mats fans that there's probably a better bet. Start looking for some of this vintage stuff because I don't think this is going to push the needle.
Nope. So like there's in one of the articles on toybook.com, they talk about the quote from Loyal Subjects was Mask has all the crazy features, vehicles, small figures with removable helmets, closed box packaging with that killer logo splash artwork and production shots all coming back. They're in the same scale and we're serving it hot and fresh like 85 never left.
Yeah,
Here is the problem, and we talked about this, is that the scale shouldn't be the same. It shouldn't be the same because you pointed it out. You're going to have people that are going to be selling Thunderhawk, and it's not original Thunderhawk, and you'll know that because the original Thunderhawk, if you find a good one, it's pretty brittle. Like that thing's been out since the 80s, And so I'm not really a fan because don't get me wrong, there's some people doing some amazing things with like 18 scale figures, but it's Mask, man. Like do something different. Like even if you just went up to 3 1/4 scale, like O-ring size, you know what I mean? Like because the people that, at least for me, the people that like, well, for me, I like Mask, and my obsession with it is because I don't think it got a fair run, right?
Yeah.
I think that the toys were underappreciated at the time for what they are, because I mess with my Rhino, and my Rhino, I'm like, dude, this is it's such a good toy, right? Like, and then I have a spare Rhino that I'm using to take apart to like for other parts, but it shouldn't be the same scale, and you're going to get scalpers that are going to try to sell them. And if the boxes are the same, even like
here's what I would say that I think that would work better. And now Hasbro, this is one point where again, you give the pluses and minuses to people all the time. No one ever does anything terrible or too great. You can give them a little bit in betweens. I like the Black Series, and then there's the Vintage Collection. There are people that are only going to buy those 3 3/4 scale figures, and that's all they're going to ever do. But then there's also people that want to see, like Han Solo and all the rest at a 16 scale with more detail and more articulation. Now, I would like to see if they're going to say, well, these are going to be originals. All right, then do another scale.
I'm telling you right now,
vehicles and do something at a different one.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, a 6-inch scale of Mask would not sit on the shelves.
No, it would not. But I'm just saying, like, give 2 different scales. But yeah, my problem is that there's always people that come in to the collecting world, and there's a lot of great sellers out there, a lot of great people that are honest, and you go into these stores and they're really great. But then there's also some people that you run down that's trying to get a fast buck, and they're going to try to make something seem like, oh no, this is pristine, it never came to my house or something, and then you find out that it's not what it is. And that's the mistake that I think that somebody online is going to purchase like a Thunderhawk for like $500 or something, and they're going to get this version of a little subject that's like 2025 or 26, whenever it's coming out, and they're going to use this to defraud some people. And I'm not saying it's little subjects, it's some other unscrupulous sellers out there, because that's kind of done a lot of times when I'm in a lot of these GI Joe forums and everything. People were passing off like the 25th anniversary figures or the modern figures as vintage, and they're not. And I can't tell you how many people I know is like, oh man, this is like, it's like, bro, you were not going to get a hooded Cobra Commander for like, $100, brother. In the mid packaging and everything else like that, you can just tell there's a lot of people out there just going to do what they do. Well, that's what's unfortunately happening right now, or could potentially happen with just making this same exact scale. That's why I appreciated Aces, is that Ace is slightly bigger. It's not, it's also a lot of added features that look really, a little bit of modernization to some of the stuff that looks really good. So I thought, he had a proven track record that he could do it, but also, maybe he ruffled little feathers over there because some people were upset that he had done, his versions of them. So, it happens, man. We fall into these scenarios and it goes down all the time like that, So it's just one of those aspects that just clearly pops up, and it's a shame.
I am just of the mindset that like okay, first off, let's give credit where credit's due. I understand they want to make it like it never stopped. I get that. That's totally fine. I applaud you for it, and any other thing that makes you feel good about yourself. What I have a problem with is literally it just needs to be a different scale size. And I've bought loyal subject toys in the past, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I can they make a good toy? Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think I even have. Yeah, like I have the Loyal Subjects Krang, and it's awesome. I took it out of the box. It's a good figure. But then I also have the Loyal Subjects April O'Neil, and it's not a good figure. It was a dumb purchase. So,
Dr. Brentley chimed in. I've seen people on Facebook Marketplace trying to push the retro into. Yeah, I have seen the same exact thing, Dr. Brentley. So sometimes, again, this is where, look, I understand that toy companies are giving a little bit of nostalgia into it, in fact. But there's a lot of people out there just going to do something just to try to defraud some people. And it's, I think when you build something like Mask, again, when you look at Ramen Toys, Makima, it's not Mask. It's completely different. And you're going to notice it immediately. And you're going to be like, oh no, man, that's not the Mask vehicle, man. That's something completely different. It is, but it isn't. I think that's very smart. Just like a lot of the vintage collection, you're looking at those, the original Star Wars stuff. The vintage collection does not look like original Star Wars stuff. You can actually tell. It's more details. It looks a little bit better, even though they're about close to the same size. That's where I think that I would have appreciated. But again, look, we're disappointed only because we like Ace. We like the stuff that he does. We were rooting for him. I definitely we had our pocketbooks ready for when Ace was going to get that license. So, I'm going to have to see what the little subject stuff looks like and everything to see if I'll even support it. Because again,
you know what? Go to your Target, go on the back wall in the Collector's Paradise, and buy one on sale. They always have them back there.
I'm talking about the Mask.
For Mask,
yeah. I'm just saying I'm gonna have to see when it comes out. I'll see some of the reviews and look at it, and if it's inequalities, I'll give it a shot. But again, the only thing I can say,
I'm gonna tell you right now, 100%. One thing that just won't be as good as the original, and that's My Pet Monster. No, I don't care how they make it. Am Toys was epic. They did Mad Balls, My Pet Monster. They did a bunch of different things. But I have the original one like back here. And that is such a well-made toy. They're not going to be able to make it like that again. So I don't want anyone to get their hopes up because My Pet Monster's coming back, because it's not going to be as good.
Well, like I said, again, it always, it's hard to reduplicate that. You got to take a company that cares about it, and we'll see. You know what? Actually, I now that I come to think of, I have seen a couple of the little subject stuff and a couple of the Rosses
Yeah,
on
that's where
a
it is a
couple of
lot.
things. So I yeah, I have seen that too. Actually, now I've just
And it was
because
probably
now I'm
from
looking at
the
the
Mutant
logo.
Mayhem.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have seen their work and everything else like that. So, hey,
Yeah.
we'll see. Everybody deserves a chance to get something done. We'll judge it when it comes out, prior from whatever they've done with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles license and everything. I like to see what they do with Mask. It's gonna be hard to beat the original, though. I think Ace was probably the logical choice to give you something. I would have loved to see a Rhino come out from him. But if you've out there and you picked up the first Makima one, and then he's got the Great White coming out. You're
Yep.
not going to be disappointed on that. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll see.
I know, man. It's just it's again, it was. I thought that was a lock. I said, "There's no way that they didn't do that," and I'm like, they did that. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, as always, and everything, it's time for us to pay the piper and everything. And the piper is
It is time.
our people over at Entertainment Earth. And when I say we have one of the best codes on Entertainment Earth, that's just not hyperbole. We actually do have one of the best ones. So watch the commercial. We'll be back from it.
Man, I'm excited about that Entertainment Earth one, but next week we have a new announcement as well coming out for a new sponsor.
I know.
And that's going to be exciting. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I love all the work that everybody does behind the scenes. There's the Shadows Network is not just the guys in front of the camera, there's people behind the camera that are really breaking themselves. So it's really cool that they're out there hustling and they're fruits and labors. One of the things that you can do if you're watching us tonight, then hopefully you watch The Fallen Fed at 6 p.m. And after that, we got our boys, the Sorlac Digest. But I can actually show it better than I can say it. Here's a little something we got prepared for you guys. Man, like I said again, tonight, actually, just like Johnny Carson, or if you're old enough to remember Johnny Carson, know that David Letterman came after him. Well, we are the Johnny Carson, and the Lettermans of our partnership is the Sorlac Digest podcast tonight. Mine is Mr. Scott Solo, who's on vacation, and good travels to him. He's somewhere throwing a lightsaber off a mountain, or at least that's what I heard he's supposed to be doing. But tonight, Tonight, the Sorlac guys are going to do a really nice tribute to actor extraordinaire Mr. James Earl Jones. His passing of this week, and they're going to talk about his legacy, obviously in Star Wars and beyond things. He's was a great actor. I heard a better human being. So really nice. Also, we've got a beautiful tribute that we did on our channel that was cut by the professor of cutting, Dr. Brentley. That's just like I said again, the man teared me up. It's all in James Earl Jones's voice, and it's just like the magnitude of work that he did. It's just so amazing. It's a shame that we lose legends like that. So, a couple other key things. Mr. Maddox, I heard there's something else coming on with you and a certain other guy named Meeks on our channel, man. How's that looking?
That is correct, and I'm happy you brought it up because we're gonna bring it up now. Anyways, it is called Joystick Junkies, and it's a new format. We're excited about it, and I don't want to give away too much of what it is, but it will be going live on the channel tomorrow. So it's pre-recorded. I think you'll love it. It's hosted by Meeks. We had the editors work on it. It's the first run, so happy to take your feedback to make improvements, make changes, whatever we see fit. We just want you to feel like it's something of use to you. So really excited. That's gonna publish tomorrow, and then we're gonna figure out moving forward what the cadence will be on that. And then probably once a month we'll do a live cast of Joystick Junkies, and we'll go from there. But yeah, really excited about it. It came out really good. We're super pleased with the editors. They did a great job. So yeah, I heard something was going on your end. What's that?
I heard, actually, I had the pleasure of I deal with him every day of my life for the last 30 years, but Dr. Britton and I were doing a new cast that we're extremely happy about. It's also pre-recorded. It is a Lord of the Rings, or more or less fantasy, dragons and castles and swords, but it's called Getting Medieval, and we have the Darth Moocher from the Starlight Digest. He's actually going to be on the Shadow Nose Network. So he is one of the hosts on this. So the three of us, we talk about the Rings of Power. And we're doing episode by episode. First 4 episodes have already dropped. By tomorrow, episode 5 will drop. So it'll be popping on before the end of the weekend here. We're sorting out some days. So we'll let you guys know on our social media what's going on. And then from there, Dr. Brentley and I have taken a very long vacation off. Well, actually, we were working like dogs, to be quite honest with you, on some film stuff. But we have done a reformat to the retrospect. And it's going to be very interesting. We're going to call it the Retrospect Vault. There's going to be something very interesting popping up. So we're going to make announcements on that. But other than that, that's about it for us, man.
Yes, sir.
I know we're cutting it to our buddies, the Sorlike Digest time and everything, but we do appreciate everybody for being here. If you can do us a favor, like, comment, and most definitely subscribe, because we know we're looking at the algorithm. 75% of the people that watch the channel are not subscribing to the channel, so we know you're digging the content.
And that's rude. Okay.
Yeah, just click the subscribe part. It helps us.
Don't be rude. You want to go to bed. You want to go to bed and wake up knowing that you're not a rude jerk. And that's and so don't be a rude jerk, and subscribe and come back and like all our damn videos, and share them out with your friends, because we know you like them and you're just being petty at this point. So don't be mean. And as always,
before we hit that, make sure that you're catching us on Friday, because Pixel Plastic and Ink is at 7 p.m. the same time on Friday every week. Whether we're live or recorded episode, it drops every week like clockwork for the last year and a half. So make sure you're tuning in to Friday nights with us as well, man.
Yeah, and hey, if that was a reminder for you, you're a jerk, because you should just tune in anyways on Friday, okay? Because then it's like Extreme Sexy shows up on the screen, because we add 2 more of them. It's fantastic. Look, there's a lot more we need to talk about, but that's not happening until next week's. Steve did. Okay, I don't want to get into it. So I had a little bit of problems with Steve over on my channel when I had my own channel a while back, and that I don't know how many times I fired Steve. But hey, we appreciate all you. We know you enjoyed it, so show it by liking, subscribing, thumbs up the live. It pushes in the algorithm. It helps. It tells YouTube that we're awesome instead of not being awesome. So Sarlacc Digest, enjoy and have a good show. And Mr. Storm and myself will catch you guys on this show next week. And until then, keep chasing that plastic dragon. We'll see you guys later.